Half a day students, I am Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. You all have been through a year of big changes. We've had to adapt and make big changes to keep our families and our island safe. But with change comes opportunity and a chance to try new things like PBS University. While Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio and I will continue to do our part to keep our island safe, you students have a part to play as well. Your part is to keep learning and to keep up with your lessons. That's why I am happy to see you here ready to learn with PBS University. PBS University is a way to bring a continuous educational curriculum to you while you stay safe at home during this time. To help you keep up with your studies, we asked our friends at PBS Guam and the Guam Department of Education to put together this episode. Thank you for doing your part and have a great lesson.
PBS University is a program by PBS Guam and the Guam Department of Education in conjunction with public school teachers. These lessons are created to provide both parents and students with a unique educational experience while helping students to continue learning at home. PBS University, next on PBS Guam.
1, 2, 3, 4. Come along, let's sing a song. We'll have a great adventure. Today's the day, let's learn and play. We'll have a great adventure. Numbers, letters, science things, all that we can do. Help you deal with how you feel. Share with us too. It's super cool and just like school, our awesome learning adventures. So grab a friend, the fun will end. Our awesome learning adventures. Awesome learning adventures with PBS University.
Rananim. Wait, do you know what that means? Well, Rananim means hello in Chuukese. My name is Mr. Delis Reyes, and I am your English language arts teacher for PBS. Now, before I start everything, let me ask you a question. Do you know what a clause is? No, I don't mean Santa Claus. That's a little too early for that. But a clause, do we know what that means? Well, that's actually our lesson for today. So let's go ahead and get into it for now. Lesson objective. This is our lesson objective. I will know the different clauses and how to use them for my writing. Since the word clause is new for you, we definitely need to go over some vocabulary words. So let's get into our new vocabulary words so we know the meaning of clause. So our vocabulary word that we need to know is independent clause, dependent clause, conjunctions, fragments. Our first word is clause. A clause is a group of words with a subject and a predicate. One thing you want to remember about clauses is that whenever you have any type of subject or predicate working together, it's still a clause. So you could have a subject like Paul runs, and it still makes sense, and it has a subject and a predicate working together. That's still a clause. Our next one is independent clause. This is a clause that can stand on its own as a complete sentence. Now for an independent clause, that's whenever you have a subject and a predicate working together, and actually if you leave it on its own, it sounds like a complete sentence. It makes sense. So an example of a good independent clause would be, I went to bed. That's a great independent clause. It makes sense. You have your subject I and the predicate went to bed. Sounds like a complete sentence. Independent clause, that's what it is. Our next one is dependent clause. This may have a subject and a predicate, but it sounds incomplete. Wait a minute, that doesn't quite make sense. Now, a dependent clause is where it gets a little confusing. You could have a subject and a predicate working together, but the problem is it has that extra subordinating conjunction that makes it sound a little incomplete. So an example would be like, before I went to bed. It actually doesn't sound complete. So that's what we call a dependent clause. Now I get it. Our next word is conjunctions. These are words used to connect words, clauses, and phrases. There's actually two different ones that we'll talk about. Now, a conjunction is a word that we use to connect sentences, words, or even phrases. So, one popular and well-known conjunction is called the coordinating conjunction. One way to remember that is by using what we call a mnemonic device. So, we use fanboys. Fanboys is for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. That's one way you can remember all our different coordinating conjunctions. Now, our other type of conjunction that helps us with our dependent clause is called subordinating conjunctions. Now, there's actually a whole lot of them, but some of our more common ones would be like after, before, whenever, because, although, and actually a bit more. So, anytime you see this in front of your clause, we should know right away that we are dealing with a dependent clause. Our last vocabulary word is fragment. This is an incomplete sentence. Now, one thing we want to talk about to help us understand clauses is also fragment, also known as a sentence fragment. Now, a sentence fragment is whenever we have an incomplete sentence. We want to try to avoid these as much as possible. So an example of a fragment would be went to bed. Now, there's no subject. There is a verb, but does it make sense? No, it doesn't. So that's what makes it a fragment. So we definitely want to try to avoid fragments in our writing and our speaking. That way we sound clear whenever we write and speak, and we definitely make sense. So avoid fragments as much as possible. So let's review our vocabulary. Clause, subject and predicate working together. Independent clause, a clause that can be a complete sentence. Dependent clause, may have a subject and predicate but sounds incomplete. Conjunctions, words that connect words, clauses, and phrases. And finally, fragment, an incomplete sentence. Just a reminder, conjunctions have two different types. We have the coordinating conjunctions, that's our for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. And also our subordinated conjunctions, usually found in front of dependent clauses like because and after. And that is our lesson for today. Now remember, clauses are very important in our writing. We needed to create sentences and actually a variety of them, which is what we are going to talk about in our next lesson. So, for PBS University, my name is Mr. Delis Reyes, your English language arts teacher, and I am here to remind you to be safe and be kind.
Rananim. That means hello in the Chickies language. I'm Ms. Bermudez, and thanks for joining me here today at PBS University for your middle school math moment. So today's topic is simplest form. You might have recognized that as something that has to do with fractions. So to make today's lesson a little bit more fun, I have something for us. Where'd I put it? So if you're ready, I know I'm ready. Cowman list to hands here, everybody? Then let's go. Simplest form in a fraction is when the top number and the bottom number have no common factor. Let's go take two fractions that we know to be equivalent and draw them out as if they were pieces of cake. Our first cake, which is 1/2, is going to be cut into 2 slices, and our second cake, which is 2/4, is going to be cut into 4 long slices. So for the first cake, if you look at 1 out of the 2 slices, and for the second cake, you look at 2 out of the 4 slices, you'll see they are actually the same amount of cake. If 2/4 and 1/2 are the same amount of cake, how do we get from 2/4 to the simplest form, 1/2? You have to think about a number that can divide into 2 and into 4. So since 2 can go into both numbers, 2 divided by 2 gives us the 1 on the top, and 4 divided by 2 gives us the 2 on the bottom, which is our simplest form, 1/2. 1/2 has other equivalent fractions, so we're going to erase the 2/4 and try another example. We're going to take the second cake and slice it even thinner. So instead of just 4 slices, we're going to have 8 slices and consider 4 of them. Notice that 1 out of 2 slices of cake and 4 out of 8 slices of cake are equal to the same exact amount of cake. How do we get 4/8 to reduce to its simplest form of 1/2? Well, think of a number that can divide into 4 and also 8. We see that if we divide 4 and 8 by 4, we get a numerator of 1 and a denominator of 2, and that gives us 1/2, the simplest form. Okay, so I've moved into my craft room so that we can make our math art project. It is something called a gamma graph. And a gamma graph. All right, so let's go see what we're gonna need to make a gamma graph. I have several different color markers to color with. Now, you can use markers like me, you could use crayons, you could use color pencil, you could even just use pen or pencil, anything to design your gamma graph. I have 3 sheets of paper. My paper happens to be colorful, but if you just want to use white paper, that's perfectly fine. I have some glue, and usually when you need glue, it's because you're going to be cutting something up, so you're gonna need scissors. I have a pencil. Of course, in math, you're always gonna need your trusty pencil, and you don't need this, it's optional, but I do have a ruler. It helps if you have one, but if you don't, you can still make your gamma graph. Okay, I'm so excited to make our math craft together, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's go. Okay, everybody, I'm excited to show you my gamma graph. So this is it, and then when you fold it out, it looks like this. Okay, interesting. Now we're gonna go ahead and crease it back up. Now here's where the fun part comes in. If you go this way and you view it from that side, you see the rainbow. I love this rainbow. It's like my hair and my sweater, right? And if you look at it from the other way, you see the smiley face. And a gamma graph is an example of how we can take a math topic like simplest form and apply it to something else like art. And you know what? We come up with something that I think is pretty cool. I had so much fun with you. I hope you come back again soon. And until then, I want you to stay safe and stay curious. Adios.
Rananim, that means hello in Chiquis. Welcome back to Science with Miss Andrada, where I teach you middle school science from PBS University. Today's topic is on heat transfer. Have you ever eaten a bowl of hot noodle soup with a metal fork? And have you ever noticed that the metal fork gets really hot to touch? Ouch! Now, have you ever wondered why that happens? Well, it's because of heat transfer. There are 3 forms of heat transfer: conduction, convection, and radiation. First, let's talk about conduction. Conduction is when heat is transferred from one object to another object through direct contact. And this is most effective with solids. Now we can observe this kind of heat transfer through cooking. The heat from the fire is transferred to the pan, and the pan becomes hot. As the pan becomes hotter and hotter, the heat energy will be transferred to the food that is placed on the pan. And that's how food cooks. So again, the heat was transferred from the fire to the pan and from the pan to the eggs. So as you saw, the key to conduction is direct contact. Let's go do a simple experiment to see how different materials conduct heat. First, get a plastic spoon, a metal spoon, and a wooden spoon. Then put the spoons inside a glass container. Now add a small amount of butter and place it on top of each of the spoons. Make sure to straighten out the spoons so that they're all laying evenly. Then just add some hot water and slowly pour it into the bowl. We're going to find out what material conducts heat the fastest, and we'll know by seeing which material melts the butter the fastest. So let's go wait and see what happens. As you can see, the metal spoon melted the butter the fastest. And that's why we use metals in our cooking pans, because they are good conductors of heat. Now let's talk about convection. Convection is the process of heat transfer by the movement of liquids and gases. Let's go take a look at this picture of boiling water. When the molecules at the bottom of the pot are heated, they become less dense. And because they're less dense, they rise up. Now the cooler, denser molecules at the surface, they're going to start sinking or moving downwards. When they're at the bottom, they become heated and less dense, which will make them rise up again. This cycle is called convection currents. Let's go do an experiment to demonstrate convection. Now, we're going to use liquids just because it's easier to see than with a gas, but it's the same concept. First, get 3 cups of the same size. The outside cups will be filled with cold water, and the middle cup should be filled with hot, boiling water. Inside this container is just water. Now I'm putting red food coloring, which represents the hot water or the hot air. And the blue food coloring will represent the cold water or the cold air. As you can see, the red is rising up because it's being heated, and hot water is actually less dense than cold water. As the warm water rises, the blue is coming in to take its place. And that's the convection current. Lastly, let's go talk about radiation. It's pretty cool because heat is transferred without any direct contact between the objects. Think about when it's really, really hot outside and you decide to step outside for a few minutes. You'll notice that you start to feel the heat and you might even sweat. Now, the sun is not touching you, but you can already still feel the heat. So, on that sunny day, the radiation from the sun warms up the skin. And it's just like the Earth. The sun transfers heat to the Earth through radiation. Now let's go watch radiation in action. We're going to be making popcorn. As we learned, radiation is the transfer of heat through electromagnetic waves. Now, when the microwaves hit the popcorn kernels, heat is transferred. And you can tell that the heat is transferred because the kernels become popcorn. Now that we learned about conduction, convection, and radiation, we're ready to move on to our pop quiz. My first question is, when you're ironing your clothes, what kind of heat transfer is that? Correct, that's conduction. My next question is, when you're microwaving pizza, what kind of heat transfer is that? Correct, that is radiation. My last question is, when you're boiling a pot of soup, what kind of heat transfer is that? Correct, that's convection. Great job, you just passed the pop quiz. Wow, we just learned a whole lot about heat transfer. So, to summarize everything that we learned today, we know that heat can be transferred in 3 ways: conduction, convection, and radiation. Conduction is when heat is transferred through direct contact. And convection is when heat is transferred by the movement of liquids and gases. And radiation is when heat is transferred without direct or physical contact. And that's all we had time for. Hope you had fun learning today. See you next time on Science with Miss Andrada.
Hafa students, welcome to PBS University. My name is John Fernandez, and I'm the Superintendent of the Guam Department of Education. These PBS University lessons are made to help you to continue learning. The teachers here prepared fun lessons on science, character education, math, English, and more, and they made it for you, the students of Guam. We're very grateful to them for their instruction. We're also thankful for you students, parents, and guardians who are watching. Remember, stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon in the next school year. Thank you.
Welcome back, kids. Mongathine. This is PBS University. This is Social Studies, and I am Mr. Shipman. In today's part of culture, we are going to explore a little bit of the culture of Yap. Mongathine means hello in Yapese, and Yapese is one of the official languages of the islands of Yap. Yap is actually made up of 4 small islands and is a part of the FSM, the Federated States of Micronesia. And today we're looking at a couple things from Yap. So let's see what we have in store. Come on, let's go.
Hi, my name is Bettina. I'm from Yap, and tonight I'm gonna cook potato with coconut milk right over here. So I'm just gonna bring these to the sink. I'm just gonna show you guys how I'm gonna peel them. Again, so I'm making potato with coconut milk. Oops, we don't need a lot of water. So just gonna put the water. Sorry, I don't use the measuring cup. I just roughly estimate what I need. Okay, so I finished peeling all the potato. Now I put in the pot with an amount of water. That's all we need. Potato is fast to cook. And then I'm just gonna bring it to a boil. So I want to bring it to boil, and then that's what I'm gonna add the coconut milk. So the potato is good. As you can see, it's still boiling, but it's soft. You can just take the fork and poke it. It's cooked already. So now I'm gonna add the coconut milk. Put in the pot. Okay. So the potato is cooked already. See, it's boiling now. So I'm just gonna turn the stove off, and that's how it is. I'm gonna just put some in this plate. It's ready to eat. So yeah, so it's pretty easy, fast if you're in a hurry. So that's it. It's ready to eat. So that's it for now. This potato with coconut milk. Thank you.
That's a quick, easy, simple potato dish from Yap. It's pretty simple, not too much to deal with. Unfortunately, sadly, I was not able to eat that one. That's a bummer. I like to eat. We've talked about that. But I'll make that on my own. Miss Bettina gave me the recipe. It's pretty easy. So I'm going to make that, and I'm going to eat that on my own. I'll get back to you. I'm sure it's going to be delicious. But I have one more for you today. It's another traditional Yapese skill, and this one is also primarily performed by the females. So come, let's check it out.
Hi, hello, I'm Linda. I'm from Yap.
Okay. So this is Linda. She's gonna do a lei for us. First, she's gonna start off with the one for the neck, and it's right there. It's a finished product right there, but she's gonna show us how she's making it. So she already got the pandanus leaf. This is what we usually use back home. Pandanus leaf, it's a 4 string. She already gathered her flowers. These are mainly pandanus flowers. So she's putting it all together with the green leaf, and that's how she does it. She arranged the flowers, and then she tied the pandanus strings around it to hold the flowers from not falling. They're very pretty. Back home, the ladies does the lace. We give to our friends, family members that they're living off island, or just any special occasions, telling the person that how much you appreciate them, or just how thankful you are for them. So this is how she does the lei, again with the pandanus leaf. Now she's gonna start off with the one for the head. This one she's using tea leaf. It's 3 tied together. She's gonna start making it with the plumeria flowers. She will arrange the flowers with the tea leaf. She will arrange them the way she likes. Usually it's color coordinated. It's really nice when it's done. Again, so this one is for the head, made out of tea leaf, braiding it with the flower. So that's the one for the head, and that's how it is. Thank you, Linda, for making the lei.
So there you go. That's the traditional leis. You can make a couple of different versions of that. I just want to say kamguar to Miss Linda, Miss Bettina. Kamguar means thank you in Yapese, kamguar. So Kwamgor for watching. I appreciate you guys always being here, watching my show. Thank you so much. And I will catch you guys next time. But my question to you is, what are you doing to preserve your culture? Okay, are you practicing the language? Are you learning how to cook? Are you working on a traditional skill? What are you doing to preserve your culture? As always, thank you for watching, and kafel, that means goodbye in Yapese. So, kafel.
Hello, buenas and hafadi. In Yapese, we say mongitin. Mongitin, welcome to PBS University. Guahusi Mrs. Paulino, here for your middle school character education. From the previous and in the next episodes, we will continue to explore the 6 personal attributes that help build a good character and eventually lead to a healthy social emotional life. In our lesson, we will use this latte stone, the Atsalate, to represent the essential virtues that help build strong character. Let's review. Say it with me. Atsalate angokutun. Angokutun is trustworthiness. Atsalate respetu. Respetu is respect. Atsalate responsibilidad. Responsibilidad is responsibility. Atsalate justicia. Justicia is fairness. Atsalate inadahin. Inadahin is caring. Atsalate maulikatura. Maulikatura is citizenship. In the previous weeks, we learned about the 3 latte stones of character. Today, we are going to examine the Atsalate justicia, or fairness, so you and I can practice to be fair and know how to deal with unfair treatment. By the way, would you happen to know where we can find the largest latte stones in the Marianas and the world? No, not here in Guam. The largest standing latte is at the House of Taga in Tinian. Would you like to fly over to another island? Great. Well, let's take a trip right now using Google Earth. Coming from Guam, then head north to the island of Tinian. The latte capstones measure about 8 feet in diameter, and the shafts are about 14 feet long. These photos are from my visit to the House of Taga about 20 years ago. Taga the Great was a superhuman. It was believed that he was a giant and that he himself had placed the tasa or capstones for the latte stones. He was born in Guam, challenged his father on a fight because he was dissatisfied with his rules, but he lost fair and square and he left for Rhoda. There are other variations of legends where it is told that he was the boy that leaped to Rhoda to run away from his father's rage and jealousy. In Rhoda, it is also believed that Taga created the largest capstones still at this time found in its quarry in the ground, before heading to Tinian, where he challenged the Magalahi or the island chief in a series of contests. Probably like our island Olympics with racing, husking coconuts, climbing trees, slinging stones. Well, he finally won a hand in marriage of a beautiful Chamorro woman and had 2 children, a daughter and son. So what is fair? Fairness is impartial and just treatment or behavior without favoritism or discrimination. Words that relate to fairness are equity, fair play, faithfulness, honor, impartiality, integrity, justice, lawfulness, legality, righteousness, truth, and virtue. So how does fairness look? Let's watch this group of friends and see.
Well, it looks like they're having a great time enjoying their pizza, sharing with each other. Well, what is happening here? Oh no. He just took all the pizza.
You gotta share with everyone. You. Thanks. Bro, can you share the pizza, please? Come over and eat.
So were they fair to one another? Well, one of them had difficulty sharing. His friends had to remind him to think of everyone else besides himself, just to be fair, because we know sharing is caring. So have you ever been treated unfairly? How did it feel? Well, that's why it's important to help and teach one another to be fair. Taking turns, playing fair in games, sports, and in real life, not cheating, following the rules, and accepting consequences. Not just saying sorry, but truly meaning it and making things right. And treating others the way you want to be treated. So what is a positive way to deal with unfair treatment or conflict? Well, before approaching any difficult situation, you need to remain calm and set aside your emotions. You can help resolve and deal with situations without prejudice through open discussion and getting a better understanding of the other person's perspective through compromise and, of course, getting advice and helping a trusted friend or adult like an older sibling, parent, teacher, or counselor who will not take sides but can help you take positive steps and make a fair decision. Well, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you, Komgar, Dankulun Asidus Maasi for this journey and learning with me about Atulate Justicia and fairness and the legend of Taga the Great. We will continue to explore another pillar of character on our next episode as we help each other be fair, build character. See you next time. Kafel. Adios.
Hapaday Thamagun, welcome back to PBS University Chamorro Time. I'm Senora Max and today, Ali, Senora Max. Hapaday Kina, Ali. How are you doing today? Great, Senora Max. I'm so excited to see what we're going to learn about today. Friends, do you know what we're learning today? Well, Kina, you just came at the right time. I was just headed out to go for a bike ride to look at the different types of houses around our island. Ooh, can I come along? May I? May I? Sure. Let's get ready, Kina. Jump into my backpack. La 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 la. Stop right here, Senora Max. What kind of house is that? Do you know what kind of house it is, friends? That kind of house is a cement house, Kina. In Tsumoru, it's called Guma Putdit. Guma Putdit? Friends, can you say Guma Putdit? Cool! Signora, what materials are used to build a Guma Putdit? Do you know what materials are used, friends? Boys and girls, cement houses are built to protect us from the heat, rain, and storms. They are built of cinder blocks, built of rods and sand, to build from the foundation from the bottom up. Did you know that, Famagun? Oh, si just ma'asi, Signora. Ben Pubetsu, you're welcome, Kina. Are you ready for our bike ride? Yes! Let's go, friends! La 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 la. Stop right here, Signora Max. What kind of house is that? Do you know what kind of house it is, friends? That kind of house is a condominium. For short, we say condo. Kina, in Tsumoru, it's called condominium. Ooh, condominium. Hey, friends, say it with me. Condominium. Great job, friends. Wow, Signora Max, that looks like there are a lot of people that live there. That's right, Kina. Didn't Nancy how? You are correct. Famagun, a condominium is a place where living units, just like houses, are divided so that families can live in it. Almost like an apartment. Cool, Signora Max. Can you tell us what materials are used to build a condominium? Do you know what materials are used, friends? Well, boys and girls, condominiums are built just the same way the Guma Putdit is built, mixing the cement, stocking the cinder blocks built with rods and sand to build from the foundation from the bottom up. Oh, ma'asi, Signora Max. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Do you live in a condominium, friends? Buen Pubetsu, Kina. You're welcome. Let's go find out what our next Guma up the street is. Yes! Let's go, friends! La 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 la. Stop, Signora Max! Whoa, what kind of house is that? Friends, do you know what kind of house this is? That, Famagun, is called an apartment. In Tsumoru, it's called apartment. Can you say that, Kina? Apartment. Say it with me, friends. Apartment. Awesome. Awesome. Signora Max, that apartment looks like the condominium. That's right, Kina. The apartment is just like the condominium. An apartment is a place where living units, just like the condominium, is divided so that families can live in it. It's a much smaller unit and does not have as much space as a condominium. Ooh, wow! I didn't know that. Did you know that, friends? Wait, Signora Max. So does that mean the apartment is also built the same way as the Guma Putdit and condominium? Maulik, Kina. Great job. Yes, Famagun, these types of gumas are built to protect us from the heat, rain, and storms. They are built of cylinder blocks, built from rods and sand, to build from the foundation from the bottom up. What kind of house do you live in, Famagun? Oh, Signora Max and friends, I live in a Guma Putdit. Now that I know what kind of house I live in and how it's built, I'm going to share with my cousins what I learned on my bike ride today. Maulik, Kina and Famagun, great job. Yes, Don't forget our bike ride lesson of the day, the types of houses and how they are built. Guma putted, condominium, and apartment. Situas Masi for joining Kina and I today, friends. Adios!
Fast, fun facts. Fast, fun facts. With Mr. Ernest Ochoco.
Half a day, everyone. This is Mr. Ernest Ochoco with another fast fun fact. And today I've got the colors of the Pride flag behind me. Why? Because it is the end of Pride Month. And the LGBTQ plus community uses the rainbow flag as a symbol of love, hope, and generosity. And now I've got one of my allies, Miss Anna Bermudez here, who's going to help us with the meanings of each of the colors of the Pride flag. What? There's meanings to it? Yeah, there are. So let's welcome Miss Anna Bermudez. Yay! Hi, girl. You got some rainbow hair going on there.
That's right.
It's so pretty. All right, so red, let's start with red. It represents life. And life is really important because now we're alive.
Yeah.
Right? I'm still here.
Right.
You're still here. Right?
That's good.
And it also represents living our life to the fullest. Now we've got orange here, which represents healing. And what is healing?
Healing is from trauma, rejection, prejudice, bullying, harassment. There's all kinds of ways to heal.
Right? And that's just not for the LGBTQ plus community, it's for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone needs to heal, right? Now we've got yellow, which represents light. And there is a light inside you, inside me, and that light is something that is unique to ourselves, like our talents and our insights and our wisdom that we can share with the world. Now we've got green right here, which represents nature. Nature is so important, right?
It absolutely is. Nature is who we are.
Yeah.
Accepting our nature, accepting the nature of who we choose to love. And of course, it's nature around us.
Right? The environment. We got to protect the environment too.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, what if something happens to the earth? Where are we going to live?
We could live on the moon.
No, there's no air there.
Oh, that's a good point.
But we jump really high there.
That would be fun.
The best basketball players ever. Then we also have blue here, which represents the fine arts. And the arts are super, super important because it's on her hair. No, I was kidding. The fine arts are super important because the arts teach us how to be human, our humanity. And that's very important, like love. It teaches us love, generosity, gratitude,
respect,
kindness. You know, those are really important things. Exactly. And the last color is violet. And that represents, actually, harmony. We'll go to harmony first, which is purple. And that represents our peace within ourselves and harmony with everyone around us. And then we've got violet. Now, there you go. And we've got violet because violet represents spirit. And that is the energy that we're made of. And that is the same energy that is in all of the things in the universe. So that's the meanings. Those are the meanings of the Pride flag colors. And remember, just be you and accept who you are and be proud of that, because no matter how stormy your life might be, behind every storm cloud, there's always a rainbow flag pride, a rainbow waiting behind those clouds. I'm coming up. I want the world to know. Gotta let it show. Coming. If you or someone you know is struggling with depression and is in danger of hurting themselves or is in danger of being hurt, please feel free to call Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center at 647-8833. That's 647-8833.
Or you can also try calling 647-8834.
And remember, kids, you are not alone. Thanks for watching. This is your Fast Fun Fact with Mr. Ernest Ochoco.
And Miss Anna Bermudez.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hafa-Adai students, I'm Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio. For more than a year now, you all have continued to wash your hands and watch your distance from others, and you've done a really great job wearing your masks. We know your parents and guardians have helped you to make these changes to keep yourself and your community safe. As Governor Leon Guerrero said, we are happy you are here. We want you to continue to learn and sharpen your skills with the help of PBS University. This program is the result of a collaborative effort. We couldn't do it alone. I'd like to thank the teachers and support staff of the Guam Department of Education and PBS Guam for their work and their commitment to our students. I'd also like to thank you, students, for participating at home. To your parents, I'd like to thank you for taking an active role in your child's education. We are all eager to return to a time when all of us can share and study together in person. Until then, we hope you learned something new from this PBS University instruction.